here's Brody Brazil.
So for the last, 3-4 months, there's been a tremendous amount of buzz in Salt Lake City surrounding the brand new Utah Hockey Club. Why do I keep doing that? Wink, wink, nod, nod. No, obviously everybody there is excited that the Delta Center is getting fixed up. The Jazz are not the only big-name professional team, and unfortunately for Arizona, they've lost the Coyotes. That team has now come to Salt Lake City. They're getting pro hockey a lot sooner than anybody expected, but that has been the big thing until now. Something actually overshadowing this news, as in Salt Lake City and Utah are getting the 2034 Winter Olympic Games. Now, this is no surprise. This has kind of been expected, but today officially announced, and they've hosted it before, so it's not their first rodeo by any means, but all of this Olympic news and making it official, I mean, what you're looking at here in these renderings and the draft of what they hope to do with this arena and entertainment district surrounding Delta Center, I mean, if there was any question it was going to happen before, it's almost a certainty that it's all going to happen right now. More on that in just a second, but first, let's kind of focus in on these 2034 Winter Games. So it's 32 years since 2002 when Salt Lake City last hosted their first Winter Olympics. They've done this before. They've got the lay of the land. The International Olympic Committee, obviously a bit familiar with what Salt Lake City is all about. And one of the pitches in getting these Olympic Games for 2034 is that there's no new permanent venue construction needed. Like, they don't need to put up anything for hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. They don't need to spend, because that has been a thing with the Olympics, as you very well know, over the last couple decades. Cities build up all of this infrastructure, they use it for the Olympics, and then they pretty much don't use it for anything else. It becomes a waste, a burden and a waste, and that doesn't look good on anybody, the Olympics or different municipal agencies. So they don't need to build anything new. They're still good with all of the venues that they had from 2002, but obviously in this case, like Delta Center is getting fixed up. Some of the other indoor venues definitely getting fixed up. So that means the LA Summer Games, that's still happening in 2028. So the United States is going to have the 28 games and the 34 games. In the middle of that, is it Australia's getting some games, but the French Alps are hosting the Winter Games right before Salt Lake City will. That'll happen in 2030. And just to circle back on this IOC selection process and location scouting process, it used to be more about bidding, right? Where the IOC would say, all right, these are the candidates. Go ahead, tell us what you'll do for us. And kind of like the outdated venues and the unused venues, it was just a bad look on the IOC. They don't like that process anymore of try to win us over. Now it's more about the IOC recruiting certain cities, and a lot of people feel like that's why Salt Lake City was kind of fast-tracked. Here, they didn't really have to compete with anybody. They were sought out more than Salt Lake City had to kind of put themselves forward and make a bid. But as we know, right, to get the Utah Hockey Club, Yeti, the state of Utah, and they didn't just do this for basketball and hockey, they also put forth $900 million for a potential Major League Baseball team right around the corner. All of this happened back in February, but specific to Delta Center and the arena, it was SB 272, Senate Bill 272, that was approved to revitalize the downtown arena. So what the Smith Entertainment Group did, who owns the Jazz, the Hockey Club, and the Delta Center, they said, first, we want to split this 900 up. $525 million go into the Delta Center, and then $375 of what remains goes into this entertainment district. They had to make a 30-year pledge. And again, all of this is still in the works. I'll explain in just a second what comes next and how this all gets finalized and how the pressure is now really on, like, Utah as a state, Salt Lake City as a county, and as an actual city, Salt Lake as a county, Salt Lake City as a city. The pressure's on them to get all this done because it's not just the hockey club anymore. It's the Olympics officially coming in 2034. So a 30-year pledge for the Jazz and for the hockey team to stay. But this was an important caveat that kind of made sense before, but really makes sense now. The public money, the $900 million, it only happens so long as all of the projects get completed by 2034. What's happening in 2034? Yeah, the Olympics. So that money was obvious, right? It was kind of for the hockey club, but it was also largely in part for a potential Olympic situation. And everybody knew this. Just to recap, again, it's not just the Delta Center. It's 100 total acres both west and east of the Delta Center. And there's a lot that remains to be seen here about what actually happens, how much buildup happens, how the Smith Entertainment Group gets to acquire all of that land, a lot of it from the county, especially the eastern side. But again, just to look at the next steps here, I can't state this enough. The Olympics announcement makes all of that stuff that we've been talking about with the hockey club, and they're trying to get this land and they're trying to develop it. It all makes that seem like if it was a question, it's a sure thing right now. Because the Smith Entertainment Group's going to say, well, if you weren't going to do this for us, our friends the Olympics, they're also coming into town in 2034. And if you want our money and if you want the Olympics, you pretty much have to say yes to all of this, or in some degree or fashion. Like, this is not going to happen. This is now officially going to happen. So what comes next? An eventual vote to either approve or reject the project area, the 100 acres, and the participation agreement between the city and then eventually the county. They need to approve by the end of this calendar year the revitalization sales tax. That needs city council approval. I'm pretty sure they need to have all that lined up pretty much by the 1st of September or right around there so that they can pass this by the end of the calendar year, get the wheels in motion. And then SEG, the Smith Entertainment Group, they actually need to negotiate and execute a lease with Salt Lake County on or before July 1st, 2025, next summer, for all of this property to be developed. So it was already kind of on a quick timeline. I mean, again, just the Olympics, it not only puts the pressure on all of this to happen, but it accelerates things to happen. And to be clear, no surprise, none of this. We've been talking about the potential Olympic bid and the opportunity, but now today it's official. Salt Lake City is getting another Olympics in 2034. So, wow, congratulations. What a time to be alive in Salt Lake City. There's just a lot going on. It's all happening fast, and there is a lot to gain from this, right? For Utah and Salt Lake City. I don't want to make it seem like they're getting shammed at all here, but when things happen fast and when things happen without a lot of public input, it just kind of makes you say, hey, whoa, slow down here. Let's take a look at all this before it actually goes through. But certainly you're starting to see the bigger picture here. Now, we were very focused on the public money and then the hockey team, and now the Olympic announcement falls on top of pretty much everything else. All right, that's it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also down there, go down there and hit that thumbs up button. That'll greatly help me and this video and this channel. I would like that. I would also love it if you go down there and hit that subscribe button right now. If you've never seen me or any of this or this channel before, I'm glad you found me. I want to make sure you come back next time. The best way to do that is go down there right now and hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.